just another thing. But what matters is logged in accounts, having catch-up things. Yeah, again, as I said, your mom probably doesn't care all that much about the technicalities of what is theoretically possible or not possible set by the company itself. What you see is the official Google app behaving in a creeped out way in a crime involving narcotics being thrown on a person against their will, other drugs being thrown close to children, and all crimes involving torture, persecution, whatever you could describe the do to me, to us. So, again, all of that made it possible. And most importantly, if at any point in the future we see strugglings to understand, misunderstanding, things being tampered with in videos, etc., understand, see the context which made it possible to a great degree. Again, if you say something about the Wi-Fi, it's on Wi-Fi now. And again, this is glitched out. This is not what's supposed to happen, as you can clearly see. You can uninstall and install again if you think that that's all. We're gonna do that just to show it to you what happens. In case you ever wondered, and this is an important one, in case you ever wondered, why don't you just uninstall those apps and install them again, or a couple other things? And yes, we try. Every time you presume something like this, in no uncertain terms, we've tried. It doesn't work because of things like this. The fact is, as I said, this is online. You can see this. So that's not how things work. That's not how any security measure works to begin with. And the entire time, you've been seeing the screen on my phone. So they're also walking away from the one other things they could, which is to allege something that I was doing on purpose. Well, not doing anything now. You see my face the entire time. It's caught on one phone. So you can see what they are doing. Them, as you see, several individuals physically reacting, as you can see them by face, to this crime. So you're witnessing the brilliance of the person share reacting to this crime as gonna happen. That also exculpates me because not only am I not doing it, they are reacting to it. Now, of course, they're gonna say that there was uh, just about a few dozen massive coincidences happening in the same short period of time, as they thought that they have a killer hand. And those videos are already available for you to see, as of online right now, 3 minutes ago. Okay? And if any tampering happens, well, yeah, that's the point. Do I even need to look at it? If that was a video, I don't really need to dive into it. It's this. It's a video literally showcasing what they're doing to my phone as I'm trying to use it. I really need to keep that paper in hand. If you say paper, you're going to bring back saying the things, specifically saying the stats and no issue was found. So, again, all the actual things you already see from before. None of the things that made this possible started today or yesterday. It's a tampering to the core systems of the phone, the core of the system, causing an app to glitch in a way it's not supposed to. We're seeing that happen when I'm talking on the phone and my voice comes in different. Right? You already see that. The far more core access to be access to microphone and other things than to this one app in particular. The issue is, so nothing that you haven't seen, but to the contrary, the very thing that I'm accusing him of, except that this today is premeditated, as you saw the female children saying. And we're going to upload this through other means for you to see. And there you have it. Neat. By the way, wait for all of this is why it's important for this, to waste some space. So you're going to see in the total how much space the crime is going to, once again, one on the list is going to drag a lot of attention from other people for their own reasons to this, accomplish the criminals. Rather than get me to sound a bit funny by sounding like this. There was nobody there, but I don't know which individual is a female talking. If you've done already. Which guess which name of this video compared to the just like the other one. You're gonna see the interest in that disappearing in a minute. So, yeah, that was a minute. To disqualify you, you just accidentally, so not accidentally, I wanted you to see, but the issue is, um, didn't quite have much of a choice in the matter. As for that, was one random individuals just yelling, "I done already," and then moving up to the machine that had no one there prior, um, then leaving when I said that they believe in me. That's just correct. And as you can see, it can happen to far more people than they would expect, right? As far as the things being exposed being shown. As the point of the matter is 700 megabytes. 700 megabytes. Neat. So let's just see. So for all it did, excuse me, 626. The other one wasn't, but it's gonna be this one as well, so it should amount to 700. Good job. And that's how you go from a position of complete control of another person, which no human being should ever want to have, let alone actually pursue, into the piss and the shit by face. And take off a uniform. You heard that in that historical piece from Tarantino, but they're not taking a face out anytime soon. So, neat. Yeah, paraphrasing. I know it's not the same, but we're not copying people in skin. That's not our way. Those type of war crimes are exactly what those criminals are being accused of. No, oh, wait, boy, the folder being inside that's too good. If you again anything about public relations, you would understand. But again, a grown up's gonna explain what the problem is and how much has so little to do with this crime and so much to do with just how again, good, good job. 700 megabytes surely worth it. But most important, it's not just that. It's also you seeing how, because when you see the level of stupidity that they go, it's hard to see the problem. But also when you see the crimes, in this case, you have this perfect mixture where you actually can understand how it goes from indeed to something that is actually gonna cross check that don't retribute the stupidity favor. This one hasn't gone up yet. I think I'm gonna. Oh, he has. He has 5 minutes left. So you got to see the tampering being accused of. You got to see the tampering that the accused of happening in a way that is undistinguishable. Okay, this is distinguishably tampered. And then you saw me accusing them of doing exactly that, saying that I had nothing to do with it. Today, as you torture me with drugs, you got to see all the entire time on camera, they tampering further and reacting to their own tampering physically. Um, to the very thing that they were doing before and they said what they're doing. I mean, if at any point you see what leads me to the state and I keep essentially just mocking the shit out of the crimes, you have to understand the true facets of the abuses and the 1 in 5 performance, as you're witnessing now, um, to 1 in 5 men, right? And to understand how it comes along together. And as I said, as I mentioned before, what would you, and I want to say what would you because it sounds like a defense. And I kind of puke kind of comes up, and this time not because the drugs they are still throwing on me. Um, I would just say instead, nothing, I guess. Everything I have to say is said already. Shouldn't check if everything is done properly. So, 1623, 1435, But some of those, I don't know if they could be online. And again, as you can see, and you know, if you know anything about that, YouTube and Google gonna have track this. Notice it again on the reactions when you start talking again. Um, Interesting, very interesting for so many ways. So mind that. Most importantly, as I was saying, 1544, 1246. Goes to actively private. You're not just recording that, but recording in two phones. And it's a screen recording too. So it's not even like you're seeing just my face. You're seeing what I'm capable of doing when you have one hand. You're seeing the screen on the phone. So again, now this is not defense, if you notice. I'm accusing them of something and saying that they're doing this to my phone. They could have used this as defense to say that somehow I did it through magic powers, and now it is indeed sounding just as plausible as magic powers. And most of it is even through the Wi-Fi. Only now I'm connecting the 4G, which by the way, you saw I had no difference, right? So again, now notice the secondary things that they just help prove, because there's a bunch of those. Amongst them, the fact that they have nothing to do with the Wi-Fi, because when I disconnected from the 4G into the Wi-Fi, no change happened. Exactly the same glitch continued to happen with no difference at all whatsoever. So again, cool. National, very national in record. I mean, discovered at the same time as you, what I mean. So, and on a final note, as I said, there's so many things. On a final note, hopefully, um, pause for the criminal saying good luck. It's a magic trick. Without a pencil, this time. And then disappear. But yeah, on a mission of 700 megabytes and 700 megabytes of data, which is actually expensive. It's just 700 megabytes of space, which doesn't mean all that much. I also see them tampering for the internet. That's that one is old. That's old evidence. You see that a long time ago. The important factor is I changed the internet connection to the 4G, and the same issue continue happening for several times. And again, that is not how. The fact that the criminal doing this failed to notice this is not how any of this works. The computer doesn't forget you to notice. The criminal did, not the computer. So you get to see that this is done by a criminal accessing this phone as I'm speaking to you, which are the brightest sort, but criminals are often not. Anyways, as I said before, how many things hand in hand those criminals line up with stock criminals of all types, except that they are not stock criminals. They are very unique type of criminal. And yeah, they also theoretically stopping other phones from charging, but I would like force the phone to charge. Someone spilled liquid on me. Passing by here, those females, you probably saw glancing through the back, spilled liquid on my arm. Yeah, and they confirming this. So essentially, they just link them up directly to this weird digital crime, which clearly knew was about to happen because you saw them react way before it actually got to happen. They were using drugs as sauce to get me distracted to make mistakes. Yeah, what is master plan? Tamp over the files, the ones that are on YouTube right now, because and you saw the layers of layers though. So just explaining for this one, my hats on down some of the videos that are not uploaded might be there. There were criminals showing up, then they put small children to show up closely for me to show on record, to show on separate record. Because that'll be given to you. That'll be serve as proof. That'll be given to the press. That is not hiding from showing this. It's just not for YouTube because it's not designed for this. I said technicalities as it comes. Instead, you have in that case actual crimes. So, yeah, there's two water falling on me, so maybe it wasn't the female. If that was a pointer, we were past the accused show. There's a torturing room there. But I did notice that something's been splashing. And now you have a full-blown context linking up all the physical criminals to those digital crimes. The assumption that they not only know that those things are indeed tampered with, but that they know that when the tampering is going to happen before it does. Um, Adding up to that criminal you saw the other day when I was in front of Burger King, quite literally waiting until the small child was in front, then walk out, clearly having access to the phone, and then choosing to do that to expose his own child. Um, you put all this mix together, again, water falling again on me. So, don't know. This one is on the still. I'm not seeing any sauce, I'm not seeing any dripping anywhere. It's a couple on my skin, on my clothes. But I don't know if it is that or if it is something. Suppose you can figure it out. And all that gets in. Oh yeah, another splash. I think it's coming from so tough to say. This is a normal place to drip, but usually that's the thing. It drips here, but not here. Like drips is there. I didn't cover the hole. No, the hole's still there. It's not splashing or anything. It's falling directly on me is my point. Some there as well. Either way. Back to the point. What am I missing? Yeah. Because it has the reductions, a certain degree is also important because again they're gonna yeah, whichever report is going for this, they're gonna do the reductions on things they are not to be shown, despite their intentions for innocence and others who now we believe this happened themselves. I myself would want that to be the case. As one of those innocents who cannot decide they have things forced on him. So interesting. It's a ghost. Check on the things if they're on top already. We do need those things up, special faces. No, the screen recordings are more important, but the face is important. It's really the whole thing moving right now. 513, I remember being up. I need to check it, you know. And again, I just want to point out, in case you fictions, everything that is possible today was possible when they sold the phone. There was no access that we know of, and most importantly, all the vulnerabilities that you can see relying on that this relies on were already present on the phone before, right? You can literally see on the first day with no account, the YouTube, plain YouTube with no account, loading all the videos, channels, all the things that I used to watch on my other phone, all the way in 2024. Um, on the same day, you see the date on the phone not staying in place for glitches. You put the date and you change for the other day. Um, you see the phone not making phone calls as you imagine repair phone with no defects. You saw because it tested in Paraguay, even though it's very specific that I wanted that to work here. And so does anyone else that buys that from Brazil, obviously. Um, you saw the battery thing, right? The time it takes and the rest. You saw the battery thing tampering with the power bank, as I said. So all of those things you could see already as for that, which means that this premeditated today is not made possible today. It was always possible. They just decided to do that today, and they set up with the best criminal bodies, and we get to see some day by face. Innocent. In a day where they torture me, I remember that. Good job. The guy actually accomplished was from to flip and show this shit. So you don't forget what kind of crime this is. Despite the digital things, this is your drug crime. Drugs are the backbone. Not because the digital crimes can take down the phone, the drugs are meant to take me down. Unable to think, unable to function. And that's what made this possible. So, why not? So, what else? Um, yeah. No, no, accessing it through the browser. Not because I think it's a huge issue. I mean, as I said before, even when I installed this, my argument was precisely how traceable YouTube is. Everything is as a social media, much like all the American social medias that the criminals use, it's extraordinarily traceable. Everything you type is saved. Um, but the issue is, which is not good for criminals, but again, the realization, and I want you to just a casual moment in the end is to realize how much you understand the things that I do as a direct result of their crimes and as an evolution inspired by or just coming out as a consequence of dealing and surviving their crimes as they choose to do them to me. Because all this is real. This is not a show. Again, as I mentioned before, that's why we pause every time you hear criminals trying to demonstrate that to you. That they know that. Because this is not self evident. The issue is, it's just the casual point, that all those criminals know that. As I said, this that you're witnessing today, this that you're gonna have far and wide consequences, perhaps far relative to this crime in particular. Because, as I said, um, most people think, a clever reporter know how to use this in a proper way. And I'm not gonna diverge. So I should say, if you ever need support or other things, I'm quite sure that you'd see how many people could be very, very frightened by seeing those things being possible in any phone, especially people who don't fully understand the complexities of those devices and how they function. And most people don't. Um, Associated with a crime as horrific as this. And I want you to appreciate that, again, uh, I know that Google is involved in this, obviously, and they're trying to do some security measures to prevent it. But alone, the simple fact that it might feel simple as to say they work with you and they help you figure it out and ultimately provided with some solution for the problems. Um, you might have some sizable amount of help. And if nothing else, a liaison, because I imagine, I don't know if you're going to have that much expertise in that. I myself don't, or not that much. And again, all the way down to actual access to things, access to accounts, as for my accounts, as for the um, other things. Now, I'm probably going to require some court orders for that, but at the end of the day, again, as I said, just appreciate how many of those individual things come to the direct result of atrocities, drug crimes, digital crimes, and all the things that they do to try to stop, to either destroy my life, hurt me in so many ways, and prevent you from seeing it. Not only because of the obvious reasons, but also because of how much important it is for me that that's the case, and as a further attempt to destabilize and disrupt me in a way. So, not that it's necessary, the narcotics do the job. Not just do the job well enough, the narcotics are required. As I said to you before, not only today you saw that go-to solution working just fine. Today you saw the to everything. Even crimes like this, you have the go-to solution being drugs, as it always is. And shame on the children also passing next to me as those things are happening. You can listen to those, even if you don't see them. So again, for the technicalities that really matter. You understand a bit if you dive into those countries' things, but as I said, at the end of the day, push comes to shove, those are you got to see. And amongst those things, you got to see precisely, yeah, the drugs, the amphetamine. But at the end, got you yawn. In case if you notice, I'm not sleepy, right? I mean, this whole thing, and the rest, I'm not sleepy. That's a fact of the torture drugs. You see that in every time. In fact, for the recent release of torture drugs in Johnson's place, the drugs were so strong that you see me yawning compulsively, like back to back. And I don't know how that works. Maybe something to do with the heart or heart rate, and maybe something neurological. Whatever it is, those are the narcotics that they're following me. And I'm quite confident those are narcotics. It might be other drugs involved with them, but I'm quite sure there's something like that. Just the way they think, the drug criminals think with those things. Very few people think drugs are a go-to solution for the digital stupidity they just did. Um, yeah, the fact that, you know, oh yeah, by the way, that's the other reason I don't keep the cards on the phone. But ultimately, the real backup plan is this. It's not the shenanigans there. I mean, always a backup plan because all cover for each other. But being online immediately means that the log is always going to be there. So if something happens, you know a bunch of things. Amongst which you decide who you want to believe. It means that you're not doing those things, you just witness them. Um, but as I said, it doesn't matter. It's YouTube. I can guarantee this video is saved no matter what happens. And that's what I'm saying. That working with Google, we cut so many, we short so many pathways to make things function and to make it simple. So now I mentioned that before when I did something like this the last time because I don't have much of a choice in this. So the reason I mentioned this now is because of what you witnessed them do, and I just want you to appreciate that this was premeditated, as you saw before. This was prepared ahead of time, a long time, and